LoreWarrior Aerotech. SPR-H5 Sparrowhawk. Overview. The small SPR-H5 Sparrowhawk was first built in 2520, and construction continued until the fall of the Star League. It was designed as a small fighter to provide escort for larger attack craft. Severe problems with its frame design resulted in many models in the H1 through H4 series breaking up in the atmosphere. The H5 class introduced a completely redesigned frame that solved these earlier difficulties. Fuel tank designs in earlier versions of the Sparrowhawk also needed reworking. As the fuel tank was situated directly under the pilot seat, a rupture could result in fuel seeping into the cockpit, where it would explode, killing the pilot. Redesign has the tank still in the same place, but with a protective vent system in case of rupture. The Randa TA-4 communication system is one of the most reliable found on any aerospace fighter. Capabilities. The Sparrowhawk's ample armour sometimes matches that of a medium fighter. It allows the craft to remain in combat for longer periods of time and offers protection to the pilot. If any plate of the armour is so badly damaged that it would inhibit atmospheric re-entry, the pilot has a manual release system for most of the armour plating. The Sparrowhawk is armed with 4 weapon systems, 2 small and 2 medium lasers. The wing-mounted lasers are the least accurate as they lose fire control should the wing become damaged. This is further aggravated by the relatively light wing armour. The Sparrowhawk's high rate of thrust makes it a perfect first response craft, as its launch time into space is fast, even when compared to other fighters of the same class. It's slightly slower in launch from a dropship in space, however, and this speed factor usually permits the Sparrowhawk to be the first fighter to engage any attacking craft. Battle history. The fall of the Star League made possible the private ownership of battle weapons. During the first year of the First Succession War, House Davion appropriated the factories where Sparrowhawks were manufactured on the planet Quentin and kept them working. House Kurita eventually bombed the plant, destroying them all. In 2901, House Kurita's Sword of Light 8th Regiment met a Davion task force just off the planet Erai. The Kurita force was planning a drop and raid on the planet, and were just engaging Erai's defenders when the Davion reinforcements arrived. The task force launched several fast-moving Sparrowhawks to deal with Kurita's dropping mechs, while the Davion heavy fighters engaged the dropships. The attacking Kurita fighters at first ignored the Sparrowhawks, only to see the small craft tear the dropped mechs into scrap metal. When they subsequently turned to follow the smaller fighters, the attackers exposed their own flank, leaving the way open for a Davion assault on their dropships. In a hasty decision, the Kuritan forces withdrew from the system. Many Sparrowhawks were also assigned as planetary defense fighters on small border worlds such as Lee and Angol along the Davion-Lao border, where their pilots saw much action. In 2955, an attacking Lao force sought to take the planet Lee from House Davion. The space battle lasted near 8 days and became known as the Great Lee Turkey Shoot. House Lao sent in many of its older, slower fighters against the sleek, fast Sparrowhawks and other Davion fighters. The results of the battle left several dozen Lao fighters destroyed and a handful of losses on the Davion front. This only served to prove once more how reliable was the Sparrowhawk in combat. In 3019, a Davion force near Harrow's Sun encountered a Kurita battle group moving through the area. After both sides automatically launched fighters, the Davion forces were startled to learn that House Kurita possessed a version of the Sparrowhawk. The battle didn't prove either side a clear victor, but it did give House Davion a taste of its own Sparrowhawk. Where House Kurita obtained these fighters is still not known. Variants. House Davion has only one variant of the Sparrowhawk, a version that modifies the weapons to carry one Holly SRM 2-pack and one small laser. The rest of the fighter's available space is devoted to ammunition. Officially classified as the 8H, it's an unpopular model, only seen in one unit of the Capellan March militia. House Kurita's Sparrowhawks are each equipped with 6 small lasers mounted on the nose, wings, and the fuselage. This version technically carries more firepower, but the number of weapons tend to tax the targeting system, eventually creating inaccuracies. Notable fighters and pilots. Lieutenant Robard Miller II. Robard's father was a well-known and decorated warrior until his death in 2960. He took part in the Great Lee Turkey Shoot and was credited with over 40 kills. Since then, Robard Miller II has taken over the family job of service to House Davion. In the Battle of Marquez, he was severely wounded but continued to fight. Miller has been credited with over 20 combat kills and is now a wing leader with the Crucis March militia. Aerospace pilot Canto Pete Williams. Canto was only 15 years old when he was assigned to defending aerospace forces on the planet Algo 1. In a series of Lao raids, he took on several enemy pirates in his Sparrowhawk, the Williams Wonder. In one firefight, his craft accidentally collided with an attacking fighter, knocking it into the dropship it was defending. Kanto was then promoted for his bravery in the battle, and was credited with the kill of a dropship. He's recently been reassigned to House Davian's 10th Deneb Light Cavalry as an air support officer.